Yo, what's up, guys? Welcome to the first episode of the Coldcat Sports Show, starring Bryce from Coldcat Sports. Yes, and I know the the TikTok Bayless show is a thing, but with everything going on with Fox Sports and Skip Bayless right now, I just feel like I needed to move on from the TikTok Bayless moniker, so we are not the TikTok Bayless anymore. It's just Coldcat Sports now. I'm Bryce from the Coldcat Sports. That's my real name. So let's get into the show. We're going to start off with Wild Card Weekend predictions. Alrighty, first we have Chargers-Texans. Texans at home. I do think that the Los Angeles Chargers will win. I think they're a team that is built for the playoffs. They have an amazing defense and a legit running game and a arguably top 5 quarterback in the NFL. And yes, CJ Stroud is good. Yes, the Texans defense is good, but their offensive line is horrible. CJ Stroud was sacked the second most times in the league this year. People don't really recognize that. CJ Stroud was sacked 67 times this year. CJ Stroud was sacked 50-something times this year. Caleb Williams was in first with like 70 sacks, but still. Chargers beat the Texans. Move on to the next round. Next, we have Steelers versus the Ravens. I think the Ravens win this pretty easily. The Steelers are on a 4-game losing streak, and their season will end with a 5th straight loss. They are not playing well right now. And then you have Lamar Jackson and Derrick Henry, who are playing otherworldly right now. So I do see a scenario in which the Steelers lose and Russell Wilson's Steelers career is over. Next, we have Broncos-Bills. It was a nice run, Bills, but it's time. Or it was a nice run, Broncos, but I think it's finally time for your season to end. Bo Nix goes out in the playoffs, and the Bills win, move on to face. I'm pretty sure they face the winner of. Yeah, I'm pretty sure they face the winner of the Bills I'm pretty sure they face the Chiefs next week. Then we have Packers-Eagles Sunday. The Eagles win. This might be the best game of the playoffs. The Eagles are really good, and so I think the Eagles are going to win. Packers are really good too. Both of them have elite defenses, elite run games, and I think that is on display fully this week. Next, we have Commanders-Bucks is the Sunday night football game. The Bucks win. The Commanders are still too inexperienced, and this is a Bucks team that is built for winning, and this is a different scenario. This is a different situation than we had last year with the Bucks because the Bucks were fully healthy. They didn't have a running game. Now they have a running game, but they don't really have healthy receivers right now. It's just Mike Evans. So we'll see what happens. Final game, we have the Rams and the Vikings in Los Angeles. Although, who knows if that's going to happen here because of all the fires going on in LA. But that's beside the point. We're going to talk about this game as if it is going on Monday. And I do have the Vikings winning, moving on to face, I think they face the Lions next week. I think, if they win this game. No, they don't. They wouldn't, because they would face, never mind. That's beside the point. Ignore me. But what am I saying? I'm saying that I think the Vikings move on to the next round. Let's talk about all the coaches, because this was a heavy week for coach staying and coach firings. Jags have a head coach opening because they fired Doug Peterson on Monday. Monday. They're interviewing Robert Saleh on whenever. I like this move. I think it brings the Jags a really good defensive head coach, and that's really what they had issues with last season. I'm pretty sure they were the 31st ranked defense, only ahead of the Carolina Panthers. But I do love this move. It's going to bring the Jags a really good defensive presence at head coach if he were to come in, because they obviously have Josh Hines-Allen and they have Trayvon Walker as a pass rush. That is scary. So I love this move if it happens. All right, Antonio Pierce got fired. I don't really know how I feel about Antonio Pierce getting fired. I don't think he was that great of a head coach, but I also really don't think Antonio Pierce was given that much to work with, considering In the 2024 draft, they were out of position to draft any of the first 6 running back or quarterbacks after the Falcons decided to draft Michael Penix, surprising everybody. And they drafted Brock Bowers, who ended up being really damn good, broke rookie records. Their quarterback issue was a big deal, but I don't think it was necessarily Antonio Pierce's fault. He was lumped into a horrible no-win situation because you're not going to reach to take a guy like Spencer Rattler. You're not going to reach to take a guy like Joe Milton, even though Joe Milton in his last game showed that he belongs as a quarterback in this league, whether it be a starter, backup, we'll see. We'll find out. But I think he kind of got screwed. Not a coach firing, but the Giants parted ways with their GM. I think this was a matter of time. I think it was bound to happen. Because I don't know if it was him or if it was Mike Vrabel that made the Treylon Burks move. I don't think it was Mike Vrabel. I really think it was the GM, and that move ended up being arguably the move that killed the Tennessee Titans, because that year I'm pretty sure they had 13 wins and then lost in the first round and then proceeded to fall apart after. So, yeah, it was kind of deserved. I hate to see a guy losing his job, but you got to do good at your job if you want to keep it. Okay, there were reports coming out about Tyreek Hill potentially wanting out of Miami. Now we're seeing that may not be true. Him and the Dolphins front office talked extensively, and they wanted to address the next steps for a future staying paired up. And I think this is a good move because you see the inadequacies that happen when the Dolphins don't have Tua, don't have Tyreek Hill. They are not a really good team. And with Tyreek Hill there, with a fully healthy Dolphins team, you could have argued that they might have been in the playoffs this year had Tua not have got hurt. So run it back one more time. This is the first time you missed the playoffs, Tyreek Hill. But not everybody can make the playoffs every single time unless you're this stupid idiot right here. Talking about Joe Milton, he balled out week 18. So now multiple teams have inquired about his availability on the trade market. Teams are going to want to offer something for him. Quarterback needy franchises that miss out on Shedeur Sanders or Cam Ward or Jalen Milroe, they're going to call the Patriots about a potential trade. And maybe Joe Milton is something. We'll see. But he does have a lot of suitors right now should the option come for a trade. This is the absolute worst coaching decision I've ever seen. He gets hired in a no-win situation. This team has no legit number one receiver, no legit really offensive weapons outside of Hunter Henry, and he turns Antonio Gibson into a stud again. Ramondre Stevenson is horrible. And Drake May is amazing, but again, he shouldn't have been playing. But all these signs show positive signs that you can build a winner around Drake May, and you build a solid team around Drake May, and you just fire the coach, the Bill Belichick replacement, who everybody said it was going to be impossible to fill the shoes of this man. And you got to give Gerard Mayo more of a chance, more than 1 year. This is the worst rookie head coach firing we have ever seen. And it doesn't happen much. Urban Meyer, David Culley, Nathaniel Hackett. But still, this might be the worst one because he had potential and the Patriots now were looking for another coach. Okay, the Browns fired Ken Dorsey, their offensive coordinator, and their offensive line coach, Andy Dickerson. Good, their offense was miserable this year. Their offensive line sucked. I'm glad to see them make a change. Something needs to change, and let's talk about the Browns one more time. Because there's a report that should the Falcons release Kirk Cousins, that the Browns are going to be linked to him. And I literally said this in my group chat, that the Browns are potentially going to trade or sign Kirk Cousins because they're going to miss out on Shedeur. They're going to miss out on Cam Ward because they're going 1-2. And they're going to go 1-2, and the Browns don't have the second pick. So this is huge. Yeah, it was mainly a draft week. Pray for everybody affected by the fires in California, and I'll see you guys next week.